Patch notes said that the upwards adjustments have been made to armor deflection of larger ships, including the capital ships. Also updated the ships sitting between heavy fighter and large ships like the Hammerhead to their own armor rebalancing. However, the heavy fighters have been left behind, and that's regarding the armor deflection threshold. And regarding the shield updates, the first significant change is regarding the shield generators, which reflected on the total shield HP for every single ship. This shield HP is the shield strength, not the component health itself. So the total shield strength for every single ship has been reduced by 20%. And this 20% has been completely consistent for every single ship as well as ground vehicles, but with one exception, which is the Mauler. Its shield has been increased by 208%. From 343,000 to over 1 million. But this is a Vandu NPC ship. So CIG has made this ship a lot more stronger. This is part of the TSG mission in order to make this mission more difficult. This is actually a good increase so that you cannot really solo this ship with just a solo Idris. So that's the only exception. All other shield generators, their health has been reduced by 20%. The next important change regarding the shield generator are the shield regeneration rate. For the majority of the shield generators, regardless of the class, regardless of the grade, and regardless of the size, the shield regeneration rate has been increased by 60%. That's a lot. For example, this one, FR66 size 1 military grade A shield generator. Health reduced by 20%. Regeneration rate increased by 60% from 433 to 697. This one, I believe, is per second. So previously, every single second, this shield generator will generate 436 HP. But right now, it will generate 697 HP per second. However, the shield regen rate is just one of the factors that you need to consider. Another two important factors for the shield generators are the damage delay as well as down delay. The damage delay is before your shield gets depleted. After the last bullet hits your shield, how many seconds does it take for your shield to start regen? After your shield starts to regen, and then that will incur this regen rate. So every single shield, their regen rate has been increased by 60% with these few exceptions. The first exception is the size 4 shield generator on the Javelin. The regeneration rate has been increased by 113%. This might not be relevant to us right now, but this one, size 4 shield generator on the Reclaimer, its regeneration rate has been decreased by 20%. From 17,820 per second to 14,256 per second. So your Reclaimer got a double nerf on its shield. Next exception is the pin. This is the size 0 shield generator. Its regeneration rate has been increased by 347%. And these are for your hover bikes and your ground vehicles. Next one is back to the Mauler. We talked about it earlier. The health of this shield has been increased, as well as the regeneration rate has been increased dramatically, 319%, from 18,500 to 77,440. Wow! So the Mauler is a lot more difficult to destroy. The next shield is a size 4 for your Idris. The regen rate has been increased by only 33% instead of 60%. And Castra, this is the second size 0 shield generator. And both of them, the regen rate have been increased by 347%. This is good for ground vehicles. The next one will be the size 4 shields for your Polaris. The regen rate increased by only 33%, from 35,640 to 47,520. And last is a size 4 shield generator for the A90 Jump. instead of increasing the regen rate, it's been decreased by 11%. From 29,700 to 26,400 per second. So these are all the exceptions for the shield regen rate change. Now, another thing you also noticed here is regarding the shield resistance, especially the energy resistance. Minimum and maximum all goes back to 0. What does this mean? This number, if you look at the armor deflection calculator, it's right here, shield resistance, both physical and energy. So shield will resist 25% of the physical damage with ballistic weapons, but it will not resist any energy damage. For example, the CF Rhino repeater, its alpha damage is 65.4. When it does a damage to a ship's shield, it does 65.4 damage. The factor is 1, so it does not do extra damage anymore. It does exactly what the alpha damage is. And this is for every single shield. You can see the energy resistance here all goes to 0. So this is a third change for the shields. Health, regeneration rate, and energy resistance. Next, we're going to talk about the ship armor change. For the ship armor, there are two changes. One is the armor's durability, which is the armor health. The second change is the armor's damage deflection, both physical and energy. However, these changes only happen to a few ships, not every single ship. So let's take a look at these ships individually. First is the Aegis Hammerhead. No change to its armor health, only the damage deflection threshold, which just as the patch note says, has been increased dramatically. Physical damage threshold increased by almost 250%. Energy increased by 276%. So physical, 152 was before, right now is 531. Energy before is 101, right now is 380. Now, just by reading these numbers, it means nothing. So you have to look at the weapon damage in order to understand what exactly those numbers means. Let's just choose ballistic cannon, for example, and use deadbolts from size 1 all the way to size 5. And now with a much higher physical damage deflection threshold for the Hammerhead, which is 531. Now look at my deadbolts alpha damage. Size 1 is 202, size 2, 303, size 3 is 455. So size 1 to 3 will not be able to damage the Hammerhead's armor at all. And for the Deadbolt 4, the alpha damage is 683. This is possible because this is a ballistic weapon. So we have to use the deflection threshold calculator. Now, if our opponent vehicle is a Hammerhead, right now I am using the Deadbolt 4 ballistic cannon to attack another Hammerhead. Even though I have an alpha damage of 683, but I have to pass the shield resistance as well as the shield absorption. After that, you can see my alpha damage, what's left is only 281. And it's completely deflected by the armor of the Hammerhead. So even a size 4 deadbolts is not able to damage the armor of the Hammerhead. Now, changing to the Deadbolt 5. The Deadbolt 5 has an alpha damage of over 1000. So passing the shield resistance and shield absorption, what's left is 345. Wow, even this gun is not able to damage the armor of the Hammerhead unless I take down some of the shield. The lower the shield strength, the lower the shield absorption. Let's see. Oh, yeah, to about, you can see lower than 68% of the Hammerhead shield. Now, my Deadbolt 5 can damage the armor of the Hammerhead. Wow, they are making the Hammerhead, the bigger ships, a lot more tanky and protected, even from size 5 ballistic cannons. Now, the Hammerhead is also associated with the Tiburon once it's released. So they are making these ships a lot more tankier harder to damage, harder to kill. And that's just physical damage. The energy damage is also increased. Right now it's 380. Let's use the Odyssey laser cannon as an example. Size 1 alpha damage 97, not able to damage its armor. Now go all the way to size 4. Alpha damage is 327. Guess what? It's lower than 380. Even the size 4 Omni-Ski is not able to damage the armor of the hammerhead. And size 5, you can. 492. It's above 380. Oh wow, so the hammerhead, the Tiburon, these ships, not just more tankier, but they brought these ships to a whole different level. Light fighters, no matter what, you just don't have the ability to damage its armor. And heavy fighters, depends on what kind of gun you need. This one, size 4, not able to damage the hammerhead's armor. You probably have to use missiles to bring the armor down for a certain degree, because the lower the armor, the lower the deflection threshold. With a size 5 weapon, or any other bigger ships with size 5 weapon, in order to damage the armor of the hammerhead. But this hammerhead is just one example. Next one is the Aegis M. It's even higher. The physical deflection threshold is 554. Energy is 485. The Aegis P is the same. Now, Aegis Reclaimer, this is actually a buff. Both physical and energy deflection threshold has been increased a lot. Physical from 132 to 495. Energy from 106 to 418. And next one is a Redeemer. Now, Redeemer has two buffs. One is the armor's durability, the armor's health, increased by 33% from 15,840 to 21,000, and the damage deflection threshold. Physical increase from 50 to 116. Energy increase from 40 to 110. Retaliator also double buff. Anvil Asgard also double buff. Armor health increased from 17,820 to 23,760. Physical damage deflection threshold increased from 59 to 139. Energy increased from 32 to 88. Next ship is Anvil Carrick. Physical deflection threshold increased from 120 to 420. Energy increased from 64 to 240. Paladin also received a double buff. And Valkyrie is the same, received a double buff. Both health and deflection threshold. And now is the Crusader A2 Hercules. The damage deflection threshold physical increased from 110 to 385. Energy increased from 80 to 300. Now 300 means that your Omni-Ski 3, 2, and 1 will not be able to damage it. You have to use a size 4 and above, let alone the laser repeaters. Also, your Crusader C2 Hercules received the same buff, but C2 is a civilian ship, right? A2 is a military one. I think the C2 should be a little bit lower, but maybe they just copy-pasted the data. And M2 is the same, copy-pasted the number. So A2, M2, and C2 right now have the same damage deflection threshold. This is a good news for the haulers. Your C2s are more protected. Smaller ships, smaller weapons cannot damage your armor. MSR also received a double buff, and the Caterpillar only received a damage deflection threshold increase. This is important because the Ironclad is going to be either similar or higher than the Drake Caterpillar. So physical increased from 90 to 315. Energy increased to 300. Drake Corsair received a double buff. Hull C also received a deflection threshold buff. Physical increased from 90 to 315. Energy increased from 96 to 360. Also good news for the haulers. Starfarer also received deflection threshold buff. Physical from 90 to 315. Energy from 96 to 360. This is important because what if you're refueling other people's ships and then getting attacked? This will better protect you for doing the support gameplay and refueling gameplay. Same thing as the Starfarer Gemini, but Starfarer Gemini, because it's a military ship, so the deflection threshold is actually higher than the Starfarer, which is reasonable, not like the Hercules. So the Gemini physical 95 to 331, energy is 101 to 378. Starlancer Max also received a damage deflection threshold buff. Ooh, by a lot. Physical increased from 90 to 315. Energy increased from 96 to 360. And Star Lancer Tech increased even more. Physical from 99 to 347. Energy increased from 106 to 396. Now, 396 means that for the Omniski, size 1 to size 4 will not be able to damage you or damage your armor. Only the size 5 can do so. 400i also received a small buff. Armor health increased from 10,000 to 13,400. Physical threshold increased from 41 to 95. Energy increased from 32 to 90. 600i received a big buff in terms of the deflection threshold. Physical increased from 90 to 315. Energy increased from 72 to 270. Including the Touring and A90 Jump also received a big deflection threshold buff. Physical increased from 108 to 405. Energy increased from 86 to 342. Including the Apollo Medivac double buff. Apollo Triage also received a double buff. Now, Constellations, all of them received a double buff, and the buffed amount are all the same. Armor health increased from 15,000 to over 20,000. Physical threshold increased from 50 to 116. Energy increased from 40 to 110. The Hermes also received a similar double buff as the Constellation. Perseus received a big buff in terms of the deflection threshold. Physical increased from 132 to 495. Energy increased from 106 to 418. 418 means that only the Omniski size 5 can damage your armor. Polaris is the same, exactly as the Perseus. And that's it for every single ship's armor as well as the damage deflection threshold change. Now, the last change I want to cover in this video is regarding the attrition repeaters. Actually, before that, remember 2 patches ago, we have a total overhaul of every single weapon's weapon speed as well as the range change, especially the ammo speed. For some of the ballistic weapons, the ammo speed has been increased. However, for the majority of the laser weapons, especially laser repeaters, their speed has been decreased a lot, except these attrition repeaters. For example, attrition 1, the speed increased from 1,000 to 1,500. But for the CF repeaters, the speed has been decreased from 1,800 to 1,500. And also for the laser cannons, for the most of the ship weapons, their speed has been decreased, which a lot of people are not very happy. However, in this latest patch, they did not revert back any of the weapon speed change. I think that is the direction CIG is going to go, especially in today's Inside Star Citizen. They specifically talk about that they really want to bring down the ammo speed, especially for the laser weapons. They want to bring the ship battle closer together to be more cinematic. Not only that, they also want to slow down the missile and torpedo speed even more. So with that information, I don't think they're gonna change back or revert back those changes. This is the direction we're going to go. The ammo speed is going to get slowed down, so we'll have to accept it. So that's why we don't see any weapon speed change in this patch. But what's changed are the attritions. The attrition alpha damage has been brought down by close to 50%. Attrition 1 reduced from 66 to 34 by 49%. Attrition 2 reduced by 45%. Attrition 3 reduced from 134 to 86, reduced by 36%. Attrition 4, reduced from 202 to 100, reduced by 51%. And attrition 5 reduced from 336 to 150 by 55%. Wow. So that's why the DPS is reduced a lot as well. And that will also affect your Ardor repeaters. The Ardor 3 alpha damage reduced from 151 to 92. And DPS reduced by 39%. Outdoor 2, alpha damage reduced from 109 to 59, and DPS reduced by almost half. So yeah, your attrition repeaters are not the most powerful weapon in the verse now. However, they have increased the attrition repeater speed from 1000 meters per second to 15 meters per second. So that is a buff for the ammo speed for the attritions. But the nerf is the DPS as well as the alpha damage. And that's it for this video. Gonna go get some sleep, and tomorrow we'll test more. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.